Hi, I'm Shaka Hislop, and you're here at Extra Time TV.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of Extra Time TV. This is Andres Sokla. We had a bit of a glitch just now, but I think we're up and running. We're going to talk about the massive matchup between Trinidad Tobago and Curacao that's going to take place at Tuesday night. I was going to do this all pre-recorded and you know, edit and so on, but I don't have time, so I wanted to get it out there. So we had some technical glitches, but we're on now. So we're going to get straight into it. So the first thing we'll talk about is, you know, if you want to take a look at the reaction to the Bermuda game, which we won 3-0, I'll put a link in the description below. You can take a look at that. You know, the other Andre and I, you know, went into great detail about what we thought about that particular game. Now, this game, you know, I'm going to pull up the table really quickly when I get a chance, as you can see here. Curaçao is on 7 points. Jamaica is on 6. Trinidad Tobago is on 4. Bermuda is on 0. It's pretty straightforward, folks. A lot of people are getting into the analysis of why we need to, what tactics we need to use and so on. And we'll talk about that briefly in a moment. Usually we have Andre and those other guys on, but you know, some scheduling conflicts. It just didn't happen, but we'll do the reaction. Also, just to give you a heads up, we'll be doing our watch along as well, so you can check that out. So, with that being said, we're going to head into the game. Trinidad Tobago versus Curaçao. We drew our first game with them 0-0. And make no mistake, folks, this is a team that is going to be massively difficult to play. Looking back now in hindsight, those 2 points dropped in the first game were massive. Could you imagine if we won that first game? We would have now been on 6 points and a calmer position. But it is what it is. We can't look back now. You know, Dick Advocat is a coach that is very tactically sound. A lot of experience. And while a lot of people refer to Curaçao as, you know, the Dutch 2.0 team, they are talented within their own rights. It's a team that, honestly, I think before a ball was kicked and the qualifiers started, I thought was going to be on top of the group. And this is just not me being a mindless fanboy that's just saying what I'm saying. I'll try to keep this concise. And folks, like I said, if you're just joining us on the live stream, usually I do this pre-recorded. But I'm going to go crazy out here and do this live. So I know there's a couple of viewers in there as well. Be sure to like, subscribe, share. Let me know what you think about the predictions in the game. Let me know what you think about our reaction. You could check out all our content in the socials here below. Head over to extvmedia.com and let us know your thoughts. So one of the things we'll take a quick look at, and I'll pull up really quickly, is a shot map of Trinidad Tobago in the last game. You know, we did produce a decent amount of shots here, as you could see, against Bermuda. But why I'm bringing this up, folks, it's that if you look closely, you could see that Bermuda. Now, just to explain what's going on here, because I know some people like stats, some people don't, but I think this is the fun part of the game. The circles with the dots there represent shots on target. The circles without dots are shots, and of course, you know, the ones that look like little footballs are goals. Now, folks, this wonderful data is not just me putting data together for the sake of doing it. It's from the kind folks of SofaScore. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, as you could see here, Bermuda did create a lot of chances inside our box, as you could see there, which is the one on the left. And that is something we have to be concerned about. And as a couple people mentioned, and rightfully so, in the comment section, that Trinidad Tobago defended a lot better against Jamaica, but we did have some trouble with some simple overhead balls, which, you know, it is what it is. You know, they definitely highlighted a bit of a weakness, and I'm sure Curaçao will be looking at this. And I'm sure Dwight Yorke and his team will be addressing this. They were able to get balls over the top, bypassing the midfield, and it caused Trinningham and I was going to say Henry, but Henry's correct. Problems. It definitely caused some problems. So, folks, that's something we're going to have to look into. A lot of people are talking about the lineups. You know, let me pull up I'm going to pull up the lineups really quickly. So I'm doing this live, folks. So, you know, this is definitely going to be difficult. So, I'm going to pull up the formations from the last game. As you could see, according to SofaScore, thank you for this wonderful data. We played a 4-2-3-1. Now, folks, when you talk about formations, you know, they're basically a foundation. This is not the rigid formation. You have how the players are positioned when they're in possession and when they're out of possession, so they vary. However, you know, this is the core spine of the team, you know, with Spicer and Sealy on both wings flanking Yates. A lot of people complained about Yates. I think I understand now, after watching several games with Dwight Yorke, why he watches this. And viewers, if you're in there, let me know while we're doing this what you think about What I'm saying, if you have any questions, you could throw in one, immediately, because usually this is pre-recorded, folks. And I decided I want to make this a bit more engaging. So be sure to like, subscribe, and talk about it. So if you look at the diagram here, this was the formation we used the last time around. It seems as if Dwight Yorke's favored, front three is, these three guys, and rightfully so. Levi, Garcia playing as at false number 9, and he did a really good job holding up the ball in midfield. And sometimes creating and releasing Sealy as well. And Yates did not have the greatest game, as you can see on your ratings there. He was the lowest ranked, but I think I understand. He has that dynamism that we didn't get to see. And folks, to be fair, Bermuda had a lot of physicality in the midfield, and Phillips and Rampasa did a really good job of neutralizing that, even in the Curaçao game. So, we could sit down and discuss a whole bunch of tactics, but let's take a quick look at, Jamaica. So, Jamaica in the last game played, when I say Jamaica, Curaçao's game against Jamaica, which Curaçao won. So, let's take a look at the shot map. So, in that game, Curaçao won, of course. And as you can see, the efficiency of this team, when they were playing against Trinidad Tobago, we created a lot of chances that didn't score. And, at this level, if you want to get to the World Cup, you have to take your chances, folks. And like I said, for those of you just joining us, if you look at the maps, good to see the kind folks of SofaScore, who are one of the leading people in football data on the planet. A lot of the data you watch is from them. You could look at the comparison. Jamaica had a whole bunch of shots, a couple close range on target. There was one that was ruled off on the end there. But if you look at Curaçao, and that's what I want to point out. If you look clearly, like I said, the circle with a dot in the center is shots on targets. Obviously, the other two are goals, and the other three are shots. Just they weren't on target. So, if you look at the shots, predominantly on, coming down the left side, and of course the goal was outside the box. I was trying to look at both games. It was very difficult, and that's something we're gonna have to. Trinidad Tobago is going to have a look at. So while we're speaking here, I have some cool stats about that from SofaScore. It is something in terms of ranking a lot of people spoke about, and I'll go into details. Winning these matches get us to the top 100 ranking, which can help us in the FIFA rankings, which I think are ridiculous, by the way, folks. I think the FIFA rankings are ridiculous. As it stands now, Curaçao 84th in the world. Trinidad Tobago 102. And, according to SofaScore, the players that they're highlighting, of course, it's Levi, Garcia, and Gore. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. These guys, based on performances in the last match. It's interesting to see these numbers and how an unbiased analytical company looks at these things. Because we are fans and we could look at the game from a biased perspective. So I'm using a lot of data, folks. And if you're looking at Extra Time TV, we love to have conversations, organic conversations, and the streamers in there and the viewers who are looking right now. Don't forget to like and, take a look at this entire video, because it really helps. We use a lot of data because, sometimes the emotions get the better of us, and sometimes the numbers calm things down a little bit. We may have perceptions of how the game should be played, and, that's how it is sometimes. So just to remind everybody in terms of form guide, Curaçao, the draw against us, 2 wins, which puts them on 7 points. We drew against Curaçao, which, folks, when you're looking back now, it would have been nice. Welcome, Kelvin Thomas. Yes, data. And like I said, everybody does pre-recorded match previews. I'm doing an engaging one. It's not going to be too long. Like the actual watch along, it'll be really long. I may do another one if you all want, if time permits, which, will serve as a bit of a Q&A. And we had Kenwin Jones last time as well, folks. You could check that out. And before I continue, folks, a lot of people, I'm glad to see there's a lot of interest in Trinidad Tobago football right now. Because if you look at this, I don't think the camera is going to pick it up really good. If you all recognize this is the World Cup 2006 official World Cup game. And the reason why this is special, of course, this is the last time we made it. And folks, if you don't know, I do play games when I get a chance, not as much as before. I'm going to stream it. A lot of people have been asking me to replay the campaign with Trinidad Tobago. I actually did it in the pandemic. There's some videos back there when I first started streaming. I'm going to redo it at the request of everybody else. I'll have some entertainment before the actual games and maybe afterwards. And, I'll play and you all could laugh and tell me what I should do on tactics. So, let me know what you all think about that as well. So, I'll be doing that. It'll be broadcast here as well on YouTube and on Twitch. So, you can follow me there as well and all the socials. All these things really help. Back to the game, folks. So like I said, we're not going to keep this very long. we highlighted the standings, the formations, and so on, and what Trinidad used in the last game. I think let's take we have some more data here. So this is what they used in the last game. The last game, Curaçao, according to SofaScore, used a 4-3-3, and I'm expecting them to also do the same thing as well. I truthfully think playing home and away is like night and day for this team, and I'll tell you why. I can't remember. Garcia was still the coach, and I think we just needed to win against Curaçao. It was a completely crazy game. I can't remember what the scoreline was, but a lot of concern was expressed about the AstroTurf. I've heard many players locally and even internationally, and even looking at massive players like Leo Messi and so on, complain it's very difficult to get adjusted to playing that kind of football on that particular team, that type of turf. So I'm sure Dwight Yorke and they may be, they're going to be aware of this. A lot of people were asking why Molino was not included in the last lineup. I heard, Andre actually mentioned us. This is, I didn't know this. Apparently there were some visa issues. I don't know. I can't verify that. So if you all know this, you all could let me know as well. So, with that being said, folks, formations-wise, I think Curaçao are going to come with the same type of formation. I'm going to pull stuff up while we're talking, folks. And honestly, I think Curaçao is a team that's not afraid to counter-attack as well. That formation they're playing, sometimes they switch to 5 at the back. They're not afraid to sit back and try to counter-attack. They're not, I don't want to say, inefficient up front, because they did get goals against Bermuda and so on. But this is a team we can physically get at. This is a team that we can score. However, they're at home. And it's going to be a very tricky game, folks. Curaçao want to get there. I did predict that they would be on top of the group. And it is what it is, folks. We could sit down and analyze and look at all these tactics over and over and over. But the fact is we have to win this game. And for the viewers coming in, I really appreciate that. We're doing a non-pre-recorded match preview. Everybody else is doing record, which is fine, by the way. Kudos to all the guys out there, but I know there's a lot of people excited to see this game, and I'm using a lot of data so you could jump back. I had some little glitches at the beginning of the video, but it's fine now. So if you're just joining us, folks, this is a must-win game. We broke down the formations we used in the last game. In terms of Yorke's approach, he seems to favor, obviously, Levi Garcia as the false 9. He's able to drop back, win the ball. Spicer and Dante Sealy. We have Overy on the other side. Molly Khan for the the cameo he came on looked pretty solid. I was impressed with the physicality, the combination of Phillips and Rampasad. I think they did a really good job. I would have to say, I would definitely have to say that this game has so much at stake, and I'm going to bring up this psychological aspect, which a lot of people don't talk about. Of course, we're all fans and we want Trinidad Tobago to win. But, these players, it's basically do or die. We have to win these games. And as Andre said in the last match reaction against Bermuda, if you want to get to the World Cup, you have to win these games. It's just that simple, folks. It's just that simple. We want to get there. We're going to be playing the big teams. We're going to have to defeat teams like Curaçao. And Andre said this, and I know it's going to sound a little bit cryptic for everybody in the stream right now. If we don't win this game, it's going to be almost impossible. If not, we're out. So it's a must win. And, like I said earlier in the video, in hindsight, those 2 points we dropped at home would have been so valuable now. But it is what it is. We can't look back now. It doesn't really solve anything. So I'm going to see if I can pull out some interesting stats. According to SofaScore, they're averaging 2.9 goals per game. They're defending. They got clean sheets 4. I'm trying to get this some. This is overall. And just pulling up some previous stats here. So according to SofaScore, just stuff we already know already. So with that being said, folks, let me know what you think about the formations. Now, I think Yorke is going to go with the same formation. I don't see why not. I don't see the need for much changes. Personally, I think once we're able to contain and defend a little bit better, because we did look shaky in the Bermuda game, we should be all right. And once we could play the first couple minutes and, have those nerves really calm, we don't concede very early. As Dwight Yorke said, and we've said this multiple times on our video, he wants to be a proactive team. I have no issue with teams that like to defend. I love different styles of football, and folks, like I said, if you're in the stream and you could drop comments and let me know what you think about the type of formation. How do you think it's going to go? So like I said, I covered the formations that they used in the last game. I think both teams will go with the same formations that they used. Of course, I could be wrong. You could let me know what you think as well. If Curaçao is going to do something different. I think Dick Advocat is a very clever coach, a very intelligent coach. More than likely, he is looking at what we're doing. But listen, that takes nothing away from our coaching staff. They're also looking at Curaçao. So while they're learning, we're learning, and we have to go into these games with confidence. I like to use, like I said, a lot of data and stats. And folks, if you missed it, you could go back when the stream is done and take a look at what we were talking about. But like I said, I'm going to, maybe, probably do a Q&A tomorrow as well before the match. Ron Julian, Orlean beating Curaçao and Jamaica. Ron, listen, Jamaica is a tough team and Curaçao is a tough team. So I hope, respectfully, that you're wrong. And if we win, that's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. So just a reminder, folks, if you're just coming in, Curaçao is on 7 points. Jamaica is on 6 points. Trinidad Tobago is on 4. Now, in the ideal situation, I would love Trinidad Tobago and Jamaica to go through. But of course, if we win, we jump to 7 points. And then we'll be on the same points with Curaçao. Hopefully we don't concede any goals. Those things matter. And, Jamaica, more than likely, I'm not going to be disrespectful to Bermuda. We'll probably get a victory in my guess. The Jamaican fans, you could let me know what you think about that. I'm pretty confident Jamaica will want to bounce back, Steve McLaren and his men, and get a result. So, folks, like I said, if you're just joining us, let me know your thoughts, who you think is going to win. Like, subscribe, follow us on the socials here as well. Give us your predictions as well. Curaçao is going to be a very difficult game. We're going to have our watch along as well. I'll set it up. It was wonderful last time. We got 11,000 streams, views on the stream. And that was very impressive and humbling. We are trying to create a community here at EXTV. Andre couldn't make it today, and Kenwin and those guys. Just scheduling conflicts and responsibilities. So I'm going to do this live. I could have done this pre-recorded and made it all polished, but it's a very raw conversation and real. So like I said, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. Also follow us on these socials. I'll also be doing this, and I mentioned this earlier in the stream, and I'm going to mention it again if you don't know. This is the FIFA World Cup 2006 official game, which I had from the guy who helps with my tech, which is Randy. So a big shout out to Randy. I will be doing a lot of I do some gaming streams, and I did some before, and a lot of people requested that I do this. So viewers out there, you can let me know if you want me, if you're going to join in. I will be doing this. It will be live here, where I'll be replaying with the official players, and you all could join in and have a lot of fun. Because when you do that with these streams, and you can also, when I'm playing, it will also be on YouTube and Twitch. When you do that, you automatically qualify for that jersey giveaway that I'm talking about. You can't see it, but it's in the background. Courtesy the kind folks of Sportway. Mitra and those guys were kind enough to give us a Capelli jersey, the red one. I will try to get some signatures for everybody who is in there. Wow, Arden, who just entered the stream here, and the preview is about to end. I did mention this, so it's because of Arden, aka Randy. I have this, so we'll be definitely doing the stream. A lot of people mention it in the live stream. So, folks, let me know what you think. What do you think about Trinidad Tobago? Is there anything that you think I missed? I think it's going to be a very difficult game. Usually I do predictions. So I'm going to let some of the viewers in there put their predictions while I'm talking. Formations-wise, I see Kingsley already said his own. Welcome again, everybody. Candice, Kelvin, Athena, Ron, Arden, Randy. Kingsley is saying 1-0 for Trinidad. My prediction would be 1-0 for Trinidad. Like I say, there's two versions of this, and usually when Andre is here, I hear the other Andre. I listen to his prediction, and I think the analyst in me says it's going to be a hard-fought 1-1. However, I think if Trinidad is able to sustain the inevitable Curaçao pressure at the beginning because they're at home, if they could sustain it for a while and not concede a goal in that early period in the increments of the game, maybe let's say 15 minutes, I think they will go in strength. I think the attacking players are confident. We have players like Nathaniel James to come on. Kevin Molino, I don't know what his injury status is. And Obiku, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly as well, even though he looked a little bit out of sorts with the teammates in there. I think he was... a bit rusty, but I think I'll trust that Dwight Yorke sees something in training that we don't see. And sometimes the execution is not okay. You know, we have Malik Khan, Kylie Overy. You know, Smith has been great. And like I mentioned before at the beginning, we did concede some shots to Bermuda, which I felt as if a better team could have hurt us. So, you know, they're going to have high concentration levels. These guys have to want it. And as you all saw on our YouTube stream and TikTok and all those things, we had a nice clip from Kenwin Jones. Kenwin Jones was here in studio. And we'll bring a couple other people as well to have some engagement. And you all could join in, folks. That's the wonderful thing about EXTV. You all could join in and we have questions as a conversation. So this game, I'm seeing in the comments, is going to be away. And then obviously we'll have Jamaica and Bermuda next. So ideally the situation would be us winning. I think any Trinidad Tobago fan would want us to win. And get us closer to that, you know, historic second World Cup. But the truth is we are at a turning point, folks. We're at a turning point. It's a critical point. Must win. I believe if we don't win, it's I won't say doom and gloom, but it's pretty much almost game over, folks. Everything will be out of our hands, and we can only control what's in our hands. So, like I said, folks, you could check out. We had the pre-match comments from Dwight Yorke. We have the post-match comments on the Bermuda game on our YouTube channel, so you can head over there. We have a lot of content. You know, we also had our reaction with Andrea and myself on the EXTV channel. I'll put some links below for that. So, viewers in here, you know, let me know your predictions. Do you think that we have what it takes to get that result? I think we do. I think I'm finally starting to see the direction Dwight Yorke wants his team to go. So like I said, I wanted this to be really short, but like I said, I wanted this to also be engaging and interactive. It could have been pre-recorded, but I chose not to. So, folks, my prediction, I think it's going to be optimistically a hard-fought 1-0 or 2-1 to Trinidad Tobago. Of course, the analyst in me is different. I think differently. Obviously, when you're analyzing, you try to take the emotions out of it. But I think it is very possible, and we just have to win. And these guys have to go and play there without fear and courage, and know that everybody's behind them. And you know, history is in their hands. So you know, with that being said, folks, all the viewers in there, what I would kindly ask before I go is if to drop your predictions in there. Also, like, and a notable thing that I didn't mention last time, there's a little notification bell under the YouTube video. You could click that so you'll get notifications every time we upload a new video. And we have lots of content. We have content on extvmedia.com, which is a website. We have the Instagram page. We have the TikTok page. I'm doing a lot of streaming and gaming stuff. So for those of you who are into that, I will be doing my first watch along with the game, as I mentioned before. This, where I did this before, but I lost all the information. So I'm going to redo it again and just so we can sit down and get the nostalgia of the Trinidad Tobago game. In case you're wondering, this is the World Cup 2006 game. And they'll be playing on PC. It's going to be very difficult. It's not like EAFC. So yeah, I'm seeing the comments coming in here. So I'm going to read a couple before I go. Mockett over Yeats. And yeah, Dwayne Mockett is a really good player. I agree. Dream Chaser. Chris Jack, your prediction is TNT 2-1 or 1-0 going forward. I would love that. I would absolutely love that. Ron Julian, is the game going to be played at the Hazy Crawford? No, it's going to be played away at Curaçao. I saw Kingsley Ledge. Kingsley Ledge is listen, I really appreciate your support and everybody else in here. Kingsley Ledge is from Jamaica, folks. Ron Julian, I hope that I'm wrong about Curaçao. Yes, I think we all do. And like I said, I know there's people from Bermuda and Jamaica that are looking at the stream, so I really respect you all giving your opinions, and you know, you can let me know your thoughts. And if there's anybody from Curaçao, you know, welcome. You know, let me know your thoughts. What do you think about Dick Advocat and his tactics? He's a very flexible coach, played that Dutch football, and you know, he's definitely going to have his team well prepared. I think in terms of physicality, they're not afraid to get physical. If you looked at the first game, Phillips and Rampasad would be, to me, essential in this game in the beginning to contain that, and we're going to have to be wary about, you know, the pace down the wings, and also, you know, those balls like I mentioned over the head that I showed you in the shot maps that, you know, Bermuda caused us some trouble. We were able to kind of Smith pull off some amazing saves. So let me know who you think the lineup is going to be, who they should play differently. I know a lot of people complain about Yates. I think it's possible Molino is going to start in this game, barring some news that I don't know. So I think my predicted lineup, folks, I think it's going to be Levi, Garcia, Kevin Molino in the cam position, Spicer, Out left, Dante Silly, Philip and Rampasad. And the back four is going to be the same with Cardines, Trimmingham, Henry, and I don't know why I can't remember the last person right now. But I think we have the players, and then we also, like I said, we have Nathaniel James, we have Kylie Overy, we have Molly Khan. So I'm liking that we have options, and we'll see how it goes. This is definitely going to be a real test. We are so I'm going to read a couple comments. Athena Molly Khan is the key to he's a proper player. We have to be aware of what Curaçao is up to. Yes, Curaçao, I've said this repeatedly, is going to be a team that's going to be very difficult. And this is a game that's going to test us, folks. Forget all the tactics, forget all the analysis, forget sitting down and talking about formations and who's going to play what. I mean, that's part of the fun conversation about Extra Time TV, folks. We have this wonderful partnership with SofaScore. They give us wonderful information. And I like data because sometimes the emotion gets the better of us, and data sometimes neutralizes when we get a little clouded, including myself. We could, say, okay, the stats reflect something differently. So I am kind of, quietly optimistic because in my mind, you go for it. Don't play with any fear. Kingsley Ledge, we have to be aware of what Curaçao is up to. We must get the win for Jamaica. Josh, welcome. Telfa, we have Telfa as well. We do have some options. And like I said earlier in the video, we are starting to see where the shape and the philosophy and what Dwight Yorke's football is about. I mentioned that in the match preview. If you want to look back at those, a lot of people are giving me credit for getting the scoreline correct. I do analysis for a living. I don't always get it right. I like to discuss and try to give the best outcome possible. Of course, I'm a fan. So, of course, during the live stream that you all supported really well, and we will have one for the other game. It was really fantastic. So that's it, folks. I think unless you guys want to give me some predictions on your lineups, what I will say is I would love everybody who is viewing right now to be sure to like, subscribe to the channel. It really helps. Click the notification bell. Follow us on the socials. You could follow me if you want on Andre Soklal at Instagram and Twitter and all these other places and engage. I do a lot of gaming content as well, not just football related stuff. I love Red Dead Redemption football stuff. I'm going to play this. I mentioned it 3 times already, but I know people are popping in the stream. I'm going to play the 2006 game with Trinidad Tobago as requested. It's going to be difficult. It's old graphics. I'm going to be playing on the keyboard. I actually have a damaged shoulder, which the physio on the national team is helping me with. And we'll see how that goes. So like I said, folks, it's been an absolute pleasure to have everybody here. I really am excited. Even if you wouldn't hear in the live stream, drop your comments afterwards in the comment section and let me know what you think I missed. Usually we have Andre and those guys, but we'll be having the watch along. So get ready for that. And we'll jump on maybe about 20 minutes before and get the conversation going. Some people are asking me to play the game before. I'll see if I can do that. But sometimes, it's very to set things up and there's a lot of technical issues. I want to make sure I get it right. And, eventually after the game, I'll be announcing the winner of the jersey giveaway. So when I'm asking you to like, subscribe, it doesn't just help the channel. It also qualifies you automatically for a chance to win that jersey and maybe other prizes. Courtesy the kind folks of Sportway, Mitra and they have a store in Gulf City. Really cool sporting store. They have everything, and I buy a whole bunch of stuff there. So, let me know what you think, folks. So with that being said, I'm going to read some comments. This was going to be short, but I'm seeing the engagement is coming in. I'm seeing start Telfa, Kingsley Ledge. We should start Molly Khan as an attacking midfielder and Real Gill. Real Gill, a lot of people was asking, why he didn't play, but I'm sure Yorke has his tactical reasons. Athena, we got to control the engine room. Yes, I think... I know we talk a lot about attacking players, but Philip and Rampasad, their physicality is very important to break up the rhythm of the other teams. If you all remember that first Curaçao game, there was a lot of physicality in the midfield. And in fact, I'm going to see if I could pull up. There was a statistic I want you all to... It's called a momentum map. I'm going to see if I could pull that up if I could find it. I'm doing this by myself, folks, and it's live. It's very interesting. There we go. So this is the last game, folks. So what you're looking at here, which was created by SofaScore, which is an amazing company that helps Extra Time TV give data. It's the momentum. So, generally, people love to say, hey, we dominate that game, This chart shows you if that's true or not. So on the top, it's Bermuda in what looks like pink or purple. I don't know. My eyes are all over the place. And underneath is Trinidad Tobago. As you can see, the three little goal scoring balls there was when the goals were scored. And as you can see, the graph explains a lot. So if you look at the spike at the beginning, which starts at the left of the little chart, you could see there's a little spike there. So there's a flat line. So you can see we were battling in the beginning, but you could see there was a spike there where Bermuda put some pressure on us. And then whenever we had massive spikes, we got goals. Now, we hit the bar a couple times, I think, in Cardines in the 91st minute. And then, of course, Levi Garcia. So it could have been 5. So we did create chances, which is positive. But if you look at the chart underneath, which is Trinidad's momentum, you could see exactly what it coincided with the goals where we had dominant periods. But if you look at the second half, there's a little bit of a stretch and the little flat lines where there was a lot of midfield battling, and you could see the passing zone here in the charts and both maps. So this is a momentum map. I know some people like stats, some people don't. Welcome Interception Pod, folks. You know, they also have a great preview as well. You know, we have some great content. Interception Pod, Scully Loves Football. Is it We Are Biased Interception Pod? I want to get this right. Tell me if it's correct. And you know, we do a lot of data. We love to do data, folks. We love to talk as well and give our opinion. And usually we understand the algorithm likes short videos. But sometimes you all make the videos very engaging for me, and it's very difficult. So, you know, that the reason why I brought out this momentum, you could see those flat lines are where the attacking, the battle takes place in the middle, and how important guys like Rampasad and Philip, who normally don't get much love. They don't get much love and discussion. So we have the attacking players, and I think we're seeing a clear outline of what Yorke wants. And it's now about execution time. I'm sure they know this. I hope everything goes smoothly. I did work on the Trinidad Tobago women's national team for a little while. There's so much things that goes on behind the scene, folks. And, you know, we got some nice insight from Kenwin Jones when he was here in studio, and we did a Q&A. And we'll do more as well. We did have some audio glitches, but you could check that out. And he gave us some tremendous insight about the psychological, you know, impact it has on players who are experienced versus inexperienced, what it's like for players, you know, the issues that goes on behind the scenes. You know, there's so much logistical things that goes on. And, you know, all these things, you know, we could speak about tactics could affect players. There's so many little things that we don't see. Of course, we could only comment on what we see. So some comments are coming in here as well. Like I said, this was supposed to be short. I know a lot of people, you know, retention time is a big thing. But, you know, folks, everybody in the live stream, I kindly ask for you to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell, because we'll be doing some notifications. So, yes, we're going to continue. Molly Khan playing number 10 for Molino. Rio shot looked like Glenn. Cornell Glenn, yes, it did. It did. I think he should have passed, but hey, you know, his eyes lit up. Darren Payne should start as a centre-back or as a defensive midfielder. Yes, so this is good that we have options. And this is why the Unity Cup and all those games came in handy the last time around. Because now we're seeing the benefits of the friendlies. And to me, if we're not going to benefit from the friendlies and become better, because a lot of coaches like to say it was a learning experience. It was a learning experience. And then we see players making the same mistakes. Now, international football is very unforgiving. You have small windows. You don't get to see the players much. Sometimes maybe 2 or 3 days they come back from their clubs. You don't get to train with them every day, so the coach has to implement his tactics and thoughts when he can. And, you know, getting those like the Unity Cup, then also playing the crucial qualifiers and the Gold Cup. Even though, you know, the Gold Cup didn't go as planned, you know, you could see that helped the progression as well. So I'm seeing the philosophy and what Dwight Yorke is about. Whether we agree with it or not, that's up to us. You know, a lot of people liked Angus Eve's style of football, where it was not the prettiest, but it was pragmatic. I'm a respecter of all styles. If it works and it gets us the win, go for it. We all love beautiful football, but for me, sometimes the beauty in football is the tactics. You know? Let me know what you think. Do you prefer beautiful football, or do you prefer to play ugly and win? I think we should do whatever we need to do to win, and, you know, in time, with confidence and playing, we'll get well. So Athena, yes, everybody, you know, I really appreciate the support here. So like I said, I could have done this pre-recorded, folks. I could have done this pre-recorded, and I chose not to. I decided let's do this live. I'm sure everybody's excited. But Yates cannot start. Sun, welcome. Athena, hit the like. I appreciate that, Athena. I was actually playing God of War just now and speaking to Athena. So yeah. Kong2260. I don't ever remember seeing you before. Welcome. Levi Garcia must play right forward. He creates chances even if he does not score. Trinidad 1, Curaçao 0. He needs to be the top right period. So I agree. Kenwin Jones spoke about that. His ideal position is on the wings. He can take on players. False 9 is a position I think he's been put into because, as Kenwin Jones rightfully pointed out, and I want to clarify, he didn't say this because he was tooting his own horn. We do have a problem with, number 9s. I saw Obiku. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. He came on and, we've had players in the past, Botswain, Willis Plaza, for those of you who don't know. A lot of players that came in but haven't been able to really lock down that position. And I guess Dwight Yorke has identified this and he's probably looking at solutions. And I'm guessing Levi fits that characteristic for now. But I do understand what you're saying. Why Levi should be out there. We do have a lot of players. Dante Cilia has been great on the right side. He has that free kick ability as well. Spicer as well. We did see the last time we played Jamaica with a certain setup, teams are able to neutralize our wingers. So we have to be able in scenarios like that when it doesn't work. We have our midfielders, be able to create and do things. And that's why I believe Molino will be very important, combined with Rampasad and Philip. I'm a huge fan of those types of players that often get overlooked. And, that ability to tactically adjust. Football has changed, folks. You can't just be with one tactic. And, coaches need time to implement their philosophies. And I'm going to use Argentina. Kenwin spoke about that as well. And, if you want to check that out as well, it's on the YouTube channel. Sometimes coaches need time to implement their philosophies. In our case, it's kind of do or die, but it's positive. So, folks, I would like to think whatever the result, that we continue having conversations about the football team, supporting the team, and, having that content and seeing what people, the pathway that team is going on. I believe there's a lot of positives. And it's been a long time since I said that from a sporting perspective. I won't get into the other things behind the scenes because that's a whole other podcast as well. But I could see certain things going in the right direction. And, if we do things the right way, it will show off and on the field. So, folks, all the viewers joining in, be sure to like, subscribe, share. Like I said, this is live. It could have been pre-recorded, but I chose to do this live, folks, and I did it for you. It was supposed to be 15 minutes long. It's already approaching 40 minutes. I did have a glitch at the beginning, but that's okay. So like I said, folks, even if you missed the stream afterwards, drop your predictions in the comment section afterwards. Because also when you do those things, you automatically qualify for a chance to win the Capelli home, which is the red jersey, Trinidad Tobago, courtesy the kind folks of Sportsway. So I will end things off by saying, folks, like, subscribe, click the notification bell. You'll see the little bell. That will give you a notification because we have lots of different content. Esports, cricket content for those who like CPL. We have great content, exclusives with some of the TKR players who I work with. And, gaming content, match previews. I may possibly do a Q&A tomorrow before the match. But I would like everybody who's here right now, tell your friends, tell your granny, tell everybody down the road. If you're in a bar, tell them put it on. Next to the actual game, if you can watch it, we'll have our watch along. I will come on maybe 10-15 minutes before to get the vibe going and we could chat. And some people have been asking me to play this before the game starts. I'll see. I'll have to set it up and we'll have some fun, which will be the pre-match entertainment. So join in before. We'll have the conversation going and we'll enjoy this game. And I probably may have some guests as well to come along and join in. What do you think about that, folks? What do you think? Should I bring a guest? Let me know. So like I said, folks, I think final prediction, I think it's going to be, I don't like to do predictions, but I think we have what it takes to win. I think it's going to be a narrow win. I think Curaçao, from the beginning, before these games started, I said they were going to be one of the most difficult teams to play. I even put them to be top of the group. But we have to win. Forget the tactics, forget the formations, forget whatever. We have to win. Then afterwards we could just discuss the other things. It's really in our hands now. And, it is what it is. The stakes are the highest they have ever been for Trinidad and Tobago. I know a lot of people have been asking how to see the games. It's available on YouTube. For people in Trinidad and Tobago, I think it's blocked. So you have to use VPNs or whatever. For people who have cable, it's on Raw Sports, I think, and Flow. So you could watch it there as well. And for the international people as well, I think for those people who have Peacock and those sort of things, I believe I've been told it's there. And I think Concacaf also has a streaming service as well. So we have all those things. So I'm going to wrap things up, folks. Thank you for joining the live stream. I'm going to wrap things up by saying that I hope Trinidad and Tobago wins. It's going to be a difficult game. And this, honestly, folks, I'm going to end this by saying This game is going to decide if we go to the World Cup. We have to win the next 3 games, but we have to take one game at a time. So, with that being said, folks, while I'm saying it, my brain is already starting to think. So, like I said, it's been an absolute pleasure, folks. Thank you for joining me on the stream. Be sure to like, subscribe, share. I'm going to say that over and over because it really helps the channel. It allows me to continue to do this. You could head over to extvmedia.com. Follow us on our socials. You could follow me if you want at Andre Soklal on Instagram and on Twitter and so on. We have different types of content everywhere, not just these analysis videos, exclusive interviews, analysis, gaming content, and it's just a whole bunch of the gift that keeps on giving. So with that being said, folks, this is Andre Soklal of Extra Time TV. Stay tuned. We'll be having our watch along and also our reaction. I'm going to do our reaction immediately after the game. And if you missed the stream, feel free to drop comments in the comment section below, folks. Check out our reaction to the Bermuda game. And if you want to check out Kevin's visit to the studio as well, it's all there at the EXTV channel. So, folks, I'm going to sign things off by saying good luck. And let's get ready for that match. Take care.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching Extra Time TV. Don't forget to like and subscribe.